Good morning and welcome to Smart Men's Business. It's exactly 3 minutes past the hour of 7 a.m. and today is the 5th of October. Yes, 5th of October. It's a new month, a new prospects, new everything. And of course, I also officially welcome you to this particular segment of the SMB News Recap as we go through the day's previous news stories. And of course, don't forget, to check us out on Gold TV. That's channel 394, DSTV channel 372, as we shall be delivering to you this business information at whatever part of the globe that you will be at. And of course, at this very time, as we start the news recap, let's start with aquaculture. And this deals with, of course, looking after fish, as the value added tax on the fish feeds is hindering the growth of the sector, and of course that is estimated at 18%. Let's have the details of this particular report as the dealers pass out their complaints regarding the taxes imposed on the fish feeds which are being imported. Let's have the details.
The price of fish feeds imported from Egypt, Israel, and the Netherlands goes for 6,000, 7,000, and 8,000 shillings per kilogram. Fish farmers have always urged that this is on the higher side compared to fish feed imports from Kenya that go for 3,000 shillings per kilogram. However, this is not only the challenge faced in aquaculture sector, but also 18% value-added tax imposed on fish feeds has also affected the sector growth.
That they use in breeding fish, those ones are a little also high, so it's also another problem. People cannot breed fish because of that hormone being expensive.
Now I can assure you that about 8 months ago up to now, a kilo of fish feeds has increased by about 1,000 shillings, meaning farmers are now digging deep into their pockets to be in position to purchase these feeds. And most of the feeds that we find in the market, which are of good quality, are imported feeds. These feeds are taxed highly. Apparently, we are paying value-added tax of 18%. There are import duties of 10%.
The government will help us only just reduce to some levels, so that these people, even the one who was even the last person who cannot afford like a tank, let's say a tank that can hold around 20 pieces, to at least rear something, let's say 10 pieces or 15. Because if you can buy a liner and you install it in a tank made out of wood, and you can put in your 10 pieces or 15, people at home will consume them. Even if your target is not to sell off at the end of the day and you need your people to eat, you can rear fish, then you eat at home.
Aquaculture was introduced in Uganda in 1953 with the establishment of an aquaculture experimental station at Kajansi. The objective of the station was to conduct research and extension services, produce and distribute fish fry to farmers. The species initially farmed were the native tilapianese, Nile tilapia, tilapia zili, and the catfish.
Uganda started way back in 1953. That was before independence. And that started with the construction of a research center for carrying out research and development of technologies to enable fish farming to take place in Uganda. And that was specifically at the Aquaculture Research and Development Center, which is just within our neighborhood here. During that time, it was not more of like production, but developing technologies of domestication of some of the fish species that we have here locally, which include the Nile tilapia, the African catfish, we have Clarias, and all other species.
During the 1970s and the 1980s, aquaculture in Uganda virtually collapsed. Most ponds were abandoned due to political instability and mismanagement. As a result, aquaculture production dropped from 900 tons in 1965 to 30 tons by 1986. The number of ponds countrywide dropped from 11,000 in 1965 to 6,000 by 1990. Virtually all the fish fry centers were run down. Rehabilitation of aquaculture resumed in 1986. Miracup and Nile tilapia remained the most popular aquaculture species. However, production increased slightly from 30 tons in 1986 to 400 and 600 tons in 1992 and 4,000 tons by 2004. In the financial year 2021-2022, aquaculture production has increased to 15,000 tons, and this has attracted exportation.
And apparently within aquaculture sector alone, Uganda is able to produce about 15,000 tons of fish per annum, yes, annually. So, which is a good progress, because when you look at the demand for fish, both within and the neighboring countries, it's really high.
Of all these species, Nile tilapia, catfish, and miracup became and have remained the most commonly cultured fish species in Uganda. Additional technologies are being developed to increase the number of farmed fish.
In developing the aquaculture sector include one, development of good quality feeds, because naturally these fish feed on food from the wild. We have the zooplanktons, we have the phytoplanktons. These are some of the natural feeds. We have the cladocerans, copepods, moina. All these are feeds which are within the ecosystem in which our fish live within the lake. But because of research that has always been going on, there have been technologies of seeing how good quality feeds can be produced, and these feeds are used to feed the fish, and these fish are able to have good feed conversion ratio.
The aquaculture sector has been growing tremendously from the year 1953, growing from 30 tons to currently 15,000 tons. However, there is still need for more investment into this sector. Naomi Mtumba.
That's Naomi Mutumba with that particular report regarding aquaculture. And of course, as experts come up to say that the value added tax of 18% that is imposed on the imported fish feeds is affecting the growth of the sector. Remember, since the year 1953, there has been tremendous growth that's within the aquaculture sector, where currently the country produces about 15,000 tons of fish, that's per annum. However, the 18% tax, that's the value-added tax imposed on the fish feeds that are imported, hinders the growth of the sector. Okay, and away from that, let's get straight to the cabinet decision on the East African crude and oil pipeline, as the government of Uganda, through the ministry, has released a comprehensive and of course response to the issues raised through the appropriate ways. Let's have the details of this particular report. I'll be returning to give just a brief highlight regarding this particular aspect. The details.
Resolution was passed by European Parliament for the proposed East African crude oil pipeline that ignited an uproar in Uganda over human rights and environmental concerns, which compelled Uganda and Tanzania, as well as a lead complementer, Total Energies, to delay development of the EACO for at least a year. Today, the State Minister for Energy and Mineral Development, Honorable Peter Tekolo Keris, has disclosed the cabinet decision on the pipeline.
The government follows its relations with the European Union and its institutions. It is committed to furthering partnerships in all areas, including social and community development, human rights, climate change, mutual benefits. It is strongly believed that the success of partnership depends on upholding the universally acceptable principles of mutual respect. The government will, therefore, always welcome engagement with our partners, including the European Union, on any matter, provided there is adherence to the cultural principles which Uganda's view are synchronized.
The benefits of the project to the Ugandans and the government at large have been paraded, and all Ugandans have been urged to embrace the project positively.
Government is going to get revenues through its share of oil, through royalties, and through taxes. But these will not go to individual pockets of Ugandans. Ugandans must prepare to participate in the sector by provision of goods and services. That's where a lot of money is. The minister has highlighted the contracts that have already been issued and the money is involved and how much has gone to Ugandans. That's about 28-30%. Our aim is to reach 40% of the funds in these projects remaining in Uganda, not going back to those who are funding the projects. So I think Ugandans, instead of now joining those campaigning against the projects, should actually brace up, prepare themselves, and get into the projects for provision of goods and services. That's where money is. The countries that have benefited from the oil and gas sector are those countries where citizens participated in the sector. The royalties and taxes will go to government to build hospitals and roads and so on. Those will not go to individual pockets.
As a Ugandan and somebody who supports development, I kindly ask you to be party to what is going on, to support what we are going through. We all see what's happening. People have been talking of climate change, which some of us who are scientists, we know that we had even ice age, where the whole world was covered by ice. It disappeared. The world is changing. Me as a geophysicist, I know that one time the world was so hot that things got burnt. We all know that one time the earth was covered by water, the dinosaurs. Some of these are coming. The oil we see is out of that challenges, those tectonic movements. So, as a Ugandan, kindly support this project. It is us who will lose in case this project is stopped.
Design number.
The government, through the Ministry that's of Energy, clarified the public, on the East African crude oil that's pipeline that was published. That's on 15th of September this year through the statement of the European Union Parliament, which provided a comprehensive response to the issues raised through appropriate means. Remember, the European Union Parliament, of course, put up some investigations urging that companies such as Total Energies that were heavily investing into this project to at least take a year as they are still investigating. And of course, it all comes with environmental related issues and human rights, of course, being put up together. And remember, Total Energies owns about 64% of this particular project, and the rest of the percentage goes to Uganda, Tanzania, and the Chinese National Offshore Oil, that's oil company right there. So that's regarding that. And of course, development is still coming up to the developing story. Definitely we shall be giving the updates regarding what's on ground of that particular aspect. Okay, and away from that, I remember it's the Independence Week. Uganda is celebrating 60 years since obtaining her independence in 1962. And now let's take a look at telecommunication companies in Uganda as they are taking steps to develop their infrastructures in preparation for the independence celebrations. Let's have the details of this report.
As of June 2018, the telephone communication system was described by the CIA Factbook as a developed through private partnership. As of 2004, Uganda Telecom Limited, UTL, Celtel, and MTN Uganda were the three telecommunications operators licensed by the Uganda Communications Commission. It is in March 2010 that the international calling code was mentioned as 256. Airtel entered the Ugandan market on June 8, 2010. Airtel further consolidated its position as the second largest mobile operator in Uganda with a combined customer base of over 7.4 million and a market share of over 39%. In 2018, Airtel hit 10 million customer mark, and this milestone was cemented by Airtel's position as the fastest growing telecom company in Uganda. In January 2019, Airtel Uganda achieved 100% of 4G Lite across all sites in Uganda. On October 21, 1998, MTN Uganda launched commercial services in Uganda, and in just 6 months after acquiring and signing of the license, MTN then grew from strength to strength and has grown to be a leading telecommunications company in Uganda. Created by the Uganda Post and the Telecommunications Company that were operating in inadequate telephone landlines across the country. The President, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, was amazed that a small analog mobile phone then could enable him speak to the late Mandela. According to UCC, there are over 35 telecommunications companies in the country right now. As Uganda celebrates its 60th independence, here are major milestones MTN has been able to overcome throughout its journey.
We got our license in 1998, and remember, Uganda is one of the few countries where teledensity was actually in reverse growth. We got our license. It was a commitment to connect 85,000 people. Our focus was then, of course, on mobile telephony. We moved from mobile telephony, we got prepaid. After prepaid, we went into other value services, value add. We've gone into fiber optics. We had an international gateway. We started, remember Uganda had a very big informal sector, which we have helped formalize. We've come a long way. We've got mobile money. We've got value-added services, international services. So I think we've become very customer-centric as of now.
The newly appointed MTN CEO gave an inaugural speech while being officiated at the headquarters of MTN.
In the first 100 days listening, simply because I think the team, based on the business plan that I've seen so far, they've done a really good job in putting it together. It addresses the current opportunities, deals with the strategic threats. So it's just getting a better understanding of what is the current context of the Ugandan people, how our business exists, and what is the value that we actually seek to create. There's a reason why MTN exists in this country, and understanding that purpose and how we're actually bringing it to life is going to be critical, because I think that is foundational to any work that we want to do going into the future.
In a report by UCC on how to identify a telecommunication market, the state of competition tends to vary significantly from market to market. As a result, a clear definition of relevant markets is needed in order to assess markets in terms of market power and the level of competition. Runana Habwe.
That's the milestones by the telecommunications companies in Uganda as they prepare for the 60th independence celebrations that's in Uganda. Of course, Uganda's telecommunication companies have invested heavily that's in infrastructure as Uganda prepares to celebrate its 60th year of independence. Okay. We sum this up with Uganda, of course not particularly, but railway transport in Uganda since independence 1962. Let's have a little analysis regarding the history of how railway transport has been used and of course embraced by the people of Uganda. I'll be returning to sum up the entire session. Let's have the details.
With the current context and the challenges facing the world and compounded by the conflict in Ukraine and the food shortages, insecurity, as well as the rising fuel prices and shortages, sound evidence is essential to inform policy making and development actions, as Right Honorable Justin Lumumba explains.
A person will not think of how to make money, but only to look for food. So once we go into issues and put a lot of efforts in the parish development model. As a team, everybody included, we shall also solve the issues to do with food security. And once we solve the issues of people entering the money economy, issues of health will be dealt with. You'll have people who can listen to you, because whatever you tell them, they will be looking at it in terms of money, and that will help.
All right, sorry about that. And of course, we were supposed to be showcasing the history of the railway transport that's in Uganda since independence, that particular report. Of course, as Uganda looks forward to celebrating its independence, a lot of developments have been seen in Uganda railway, that system, which was a former British state-owned railway company. The line linked to the interiors of Uganda and Kenya with the Indian port, that of Mombasa in Kenya. The Uganda Railway emerged in the 1890s, and had profound impact on the Kenyan society until it met with problems late in the 20th century. Okay, let's have the details of this particular analysis as we see the history of the Uganda, of course, of railway transport in Uganda. All right, let's get into a short commercial break. Sorry about that. We got just a little technical issues. We weren't able to play you that particular aspect. But let's get into a short commercial break. We shall be returning right back with, of course, the press review, the international business news, and sum up the hour with the business tips and quotes. That will be with Joram Paulson, and I'll be joining you right again on SMB on ground, as we shall be at the Uganda Manufacturers Association Expo, finding out what's really taking place, and of course, what are the prospects for the future developments regarding that particular expo. Stick around. Good morning.
Smart 24, driving business.
Uganda, the time is here to celebrate like never before. MTN and Talent Africa present Afropalooza. Independence Weekend, 8th to 9th of October, featuring over 60 artists in a 2-day celebration of Uganda, including Rama, Maddox, Sauti Sol, Zex Bilanji, Janzi Band, Cindy, Winnie Nwaji, Binka, Maurice Curia, and a lot more. That's not all. Arts and culture showcases, business expos, culinary experience. Yes, come get a taste of Uganda. Afropalooza is proudly brought to you by Talent Africa, Gemson, Now Special, Stanbic Bank, and MTN. Afropalooza, celebrating the Pearl of Africa.
This is Jordan. When it comes to classwork, Jordan is magic. Jordan shines. Jordan makes his peers better. Jordan is a true leader. White Star Magic family. Be a leader. Be magic.
World Cup in the desert, the first one in the Middle East, the first to be held at the end of the year. That's crazy. Get ready for spectacular moves, high-flying saves, unbelievable goals. out of this world celebration.
Would you believe it? What a moment here!
All 64 matches live. That's over 5,000 action-packed minutes of the FIFA 2022 World Cup Qatar. Now that's crazy. Catch all the action only on SuperSport, your world of champions. On Gold TV. Love it.
Chinayuchinyumira. Whether it is Katogo, Chikomando, Rolex Majasa to Nyanyambisi. Man, wherever I am, I enjoy Chinayu with your TV channels on my phone.
Enjoy a new world of entertainment with over 80 TV and radio channels, plus movies from wherever you are. Download the YoTV Channels app from your app store and enjoy 30 days of free streaming with MTN.
YoTV Channels.
Say goodbye to paperwork and travel costs. Now every MTN customer can register to invest in securities anytime and anywhere with Zabu in a few simple steps. Step 1. Dial *292#. Step 2. Select option 1. Register with Zabu. Step 3. Enter your full names. Step 4. Enter your national identification number. Step 5. Enter your national identification card number. In 24 hours, you will receive an SMS confirming your registration. Congratulations, you are now ready to invest.
Smart 24, driving business.
Uganda has the world's youngest population with 78% of the youth.
For every 10 young people, 8 are unemployed. Unemployment is that rampant in the country.
Why are youth unemployed? It's because they don't want to invest and save.
Before you save and invest, you have to have a business idea.
After getting the business idea, you need capital to start up the business. But how are you going to get this capital?
You can get capital from friends, relatives, circles, or even the government.
We will be talking about how to create a business idea and how to generate capital to support the business idea. I am Martha Nimsima.
And Samarina Wagala on the lounge.
Every Saturday, 10 a.m. on Smart 24 TV, Driving Business.
Don't miss on Smart 24 TV.
Saving or securing for the future does not only mean investing in stocks, real estates, or companies, but there are so many chances of becoming a billionaire through practicing agriculture. You don't need a very big plot of land or large capital to start, but slowly by slowly you can build an empire. Uganda's economy is made up of agriculture, services, and industry sectors. But agriculture comes out as the backbone of Uganda, employing 70% of the population and contributing half of the country's exports and earnings. Agriculture being the main supplier of raw materials for several companies, and it's readily marketed both in urban and rural areas. There are so many chances of the next billionaires coming from agriculture. From the farmers to the processors, from the processors to the traders, and from the traders to the final consumers. We shall be taking you through the whole agriculture chain. My name is Chris Chitaka Haman, and this is Farm Smart.
Showing every Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. only on Smart 24 TV, Driving Business.
Every new day brings new opportunities for you to conquer the business world. Start your day with a show that will drive your business. Be the first to know the latest prices around town. The latest business information around the country and the world. We bring you in-depth analysis with exclusive interviews from key players. And of course, wouldn't you want that for your morning? to speed with what is trending in the business world, all in one morning show. Smart Means Business with your favorite guy, Joram Paul Sonko, every weekday, Monday to Friday from 7 a.m. to 10:50 a.m. as we drive you into the business world. This is Smart 24.
Smart 24, driving business.
Good morning today. How are you doing? It is Wednesday, a very cold one. I should say in most areas of Uganda it has been raining in the morning, but clearly it's a morning where you will definitely want to choose to either stay indoor or wake up and go out and chase your dreams, creating opportunities that will help you see success in your business. How are you doing? Hope you're okay. I'm Joram Paul Sonko and this is Smart Means Business, your daily Kickstarter. And we are definitely here every single Monday to Friday doing it this way from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. First was the news recap with Barija Andrew. Now it's time for the press review to take you through what is happening from the other side of the coin with the print media perspective. But in regards to that, there's a lot to desire from that space. But before that, let's look at more of investing. There are chances of you investing, and the chances can only be possible by investing in securities using the Zabu platform. Zabu is powered by Altex East Africa, and they say you as an MTN subscriber, you can use the USSD code of *292# and you can choose a bond of which you wish to invest in and make your money grow. Zabu says, my money, my future. Zabu is there for you, courtesy of Altex East Africa, and you can definitely invest in securities and bonds as easy as that is. So that is what is coming in from the situation here to do with Zabu platform. All right, Zabu says, my money, my future. Okay, now besides that, let's get into the press review, the Daily Monitor and the New Vision this morning. Now, speaking of the Daily Monitor, as we are looking from the business angle or the business perspective, we get to realize more of a situation to do with the Daily Monitor, looking at some of the businesses in regards to that. Chambugo University is in a final push to recruit 9 Cuban professors. Then also Daily Monitor shows you Uganda at 60. Government is unveiling milestones that they've been able to achieve since 1962. That is according to the Daily Monitor. And then also moving further, we are looking at updates coming in and updates giving you more of this. There is also something to do with the Kafunda effect on Uganda's education. That is from the column sector, Daily Monitor. You can have it this very morning as well to go in there and see what is making headlines from the world of business as it does happen. And then also there is something to do with real estate. You can find more of that with the Daily Monitor as well. Now, also as we move to the new vision, there is a headline regarding funding for oil pipeline has hit 1.1 trillion Ugandan shilling. That is more of the new vision, and you can have more details regarding that by following the new vision from that particular space. And the new vision brings you more of that. Right now, the oil pipeline support has hit 1.1 trillion Ugandan shillings. You can still have more and get that. Then the new vision also has highlighted that the Emyoga program is set to target oil opportunities. How about that one? In between the line shows that since February, contracts totaling up to 6.8 billion Ugandan shillings, that is $6.8 billion, that is approximately 26 trillion Ugandan shillings, had been awarded, and Ugandan firms had received $1.73 billion, approximately 6.5 trillion shillings, of which is 25%. So when you look at that closely, this is something you would want to look at more with the new vision and the Daily Monitor. All right, now that brings us to the end of our press review this morning. Let's get into the SMB International News. All right, now besides that, let's start with the SMB International News. We start with the Emergency Fund for Ukraine, as the International Monetary Fund is set to consider a $1.3 billion in emergency funding for Ukraine. Now, looking further, sources say that Ukraine has received sufficient financial assurances from partners to meet the International Monetary Fund's debt sustainability rules, with the International Monetary Fund's executive board considering that Ukraine's request for a 1.3 billion in additional emergency funding on Friday as Russia's war against the country continues, according to two sources familiar with the matter. Now, the IMF staff have prepared the necessary documents and believe Ukraine has received sufficient financial assurances from its global partners to meet the IMF's debt sustainability requirements and quality for further emergency funds. Now, the sources told the Reuters news agency. Now, on the other hand, if approved, these funds would come from a new emergency lending program to address food shortages approved by the board of the International Monetary Fund last week. Now, also on the other hand, when you look closely, IMF officials have praised the Ukrainian government and its central bank for their management of the economic shocks caused by Russia's invasion of the country in February. The International Monetary Fund has praised the Ukrainian government as well as its central bank for their management of the economic shocks caused by Russia's invasion of the country in February. The IMF provided $1.4 billion in emergency assistance to Ukraine in March, shortly after the war began. Now, Ukrainian officials are pressing for additional non-emergency funds under a full-fledged IMF lending program, but such a program could come in later on. Now, when you look at this, sources say that Ukraine has received sufficient financial assurances from partners to meet IMF's debt sustainability rules. The IMF's executive board will consider Ukraine's request for a $1.3 billion in additional emergency funding on Friday as Russia's war against the country continues, according to two sources familiar with the matter. IMF staff have prepared the necessary documents and believe Ukraine has received sufficient financial assurances from its global partners to meet the IMF's debt sustainability requirements and qualify for further emergency funds. Now, the sources did reveal this more, that if approved, the funds would come from a new emerging lending program to address the food shortages approved by the board last week. Now, the IMF officials have praised the Ukrainian government and its central bank for their management of the economic shocks caused by Russia's invasion of the country. That is in the month of February. The IMF provided $1.4 billion in emergency assistance to Ukraine in March, and this is shortly after the war had begun. Now, the Ukrainian officials are pressing for additional non-emergency funds under a full-fledged IMF lending program, but such a program could come in later. Okay. Now, away from that, we head to Nigeria, as Nigeria is set to benefit from 86 billion global seed trade. How about this one? The National Agriculture Seed Council has trained seed certification officers in line with the Organization for Economic Cooperation Development standards, which is as part of its efforts to ensure the country benefits from the 86 billion global seed trade. This is $86 billion. This will help checkmate the importation of substandard seeds into the country and increase Nigeria's chances of exporting seeds, thus boosting the country's foreign exchange earnings. Now, on the other hand, although the country has started some level of seed export within the West African region, it is yet to benefit. However, with Nigeria aspiring to be a member of OECD, the international market will no longer have any reason to question the standard of seeds coming in from the country. And although the country started some level of seed export within the West African region, it is yet to benefit much from the international market where the country battles trust challenges. The Director General of the National Agriculture Seed Council, Dr. Philip Ojo, while speaking at the OECD Seed Skill Capacity Building, said that the aim was to train seed certification officers on the standard certification scheme and inspection activities of the OECD. Now, for Nigeria's seed industry to be part of the global structure, he stressed out that it has to align with the OECD skills such that seed companies can participate in the international seed trade and its regulations. Also, on the other hand, Ojo stated that the training, which started online last year, was to ensure that participants are fully trained in relevant skills, as well as making the physical meeting quite necessary for the Nigerian seed industry and for those in the stake, or for those that are actually taking part in the seed trade in Nigeria. And lastly, from the international outlets, we look at Africa and China relations. China has tightened lending tabs, leaving African markets vulnerable. China has been developing quite a number of countries lately, not only in infrastructure, but in most of the times, and also focusing on bilateral relations. The developing countries in Africa are losing a champion that for years allowed them to borrow at cheaper rates than they could find in capital markets. China, which is Africa's largest bilateral creditor, has been scaling back lending in the region amid its worsening growth woes. That comes at a time of rising interest rates globally and shrinking liquidity, factors that have already sent bonds of the riskiest African borrowers such as Ghana and Zambia crashing, and currencies, which also include South Africa's rand, to near pandemic lows. The evolving debt dynamics with Beijing, whose lending is focused towards long-term infrastructure projects, is threatening to push reluctant governments into the arms of the International Monetary Fund as well as the World Bank for balance of payment support. Now, the economic programs from the fund often restrict commercial borrowing and require Chinese lenders to sit around the restructuring table with the Western lenders. High-yielding bonds issued by frontier economies have been among the worst performers globally, with many already in distress before Russia's invasion of Ukraine upended inflation and growth trajectories. Loss of market access, depreciating currencies, and elevated energy, as well as the food costs, are now heightening social and political tensions, as well as, according to analysts at the JP Morgan Chase and Company, including Milo Gunisage and Amy Hall, coming in with more of these details. Now, yields on African dollar debt are at levels last seen during the global financial crisis levels after the Federal Reserve did hike interest rates in September and said it would do whatever it takes to get inflation under control. Average yields on the sub-Saharan debt jumped more than 100 basis points in the past week to trade at about 14.3%. That compares with the 50 basis point increase for the emerging market average to 8%, with China stepping away, heading to international bond markets, maybe the only option to getting financing. But for some, that's becoming prohibitively expensive. Now, from 2000 to 2020, the top 10 African government recipients of Chinese loans were Angola, Ethiopia, Zambia, Kenya, Egypt, Nigeria, Cameroon, South Africa, Republic of Congo, and Ghana. And this report was gathered according to data from the Boston University Global Development Policy Center. These are the African countries that have received top loans from China in the last 10 years. Angola, Ethiopia, Zambia, Kenya, Nigeria, Cameroon, South Africa, the Republic of Congo, and Ghana. Now, of those, Ethiopia has been flagged by JP Morgan Chase and Company as carrying high repayment risk and under the threat of reverse depletion by the end of 2023, reverse depletion by the end of 2023. Zambia, which is in default of its Eurobonds, and Ghana has approached the International Monetary Fund for bailouts that may involve debt restructuring, while Egypt is seeking a new loan from the International Monetary Fund. And there you have it from the SMB International News. Now let's get motivated. We start with our business tip of the day. All right, now the business tip says always deliver. If you want to ensure that customers buy from you again and again and that they tell others about you. Now, over-delivering is critical. It does not mean that you have to do something big that causes you to lose money. It can be something small to you but maybe big for the customer. Over-delivering can be accomplished in different ways. If we go again with this one, always over-deliver. If you want to ensure that customers buy from you again and again and they tell others about you, over-delivering is critical. It does not mean that you have to do something big that causes you to lose money. It can be something small to you but big for the customer. Over-delivering can be accomplished in different ways. And speaking of over-delivering, I believe all of us know and understand why you always have to deliver beyond the expectations of either your boss or either your boss or the customer or the client that you're meeting, his or her expectations. These are the people who buy from us, and every other time they are encouraged more and more to at least buy more from us or support our businesses. So if you continue to over-deliver, or if at all you deliver beyond expectations, it is where you get to understand that it's important for you to at least get it beyond, to at least deliver beyond what they expect from you. Because sometimes you give them room to appreciate the little that you've been doing, and then they will as well see that you've upgraded with how far you've been helpful to them. So that is exactly what this tip is telling us. Always remember to over-deliver, because the more you do so, that will be very important for you, and it will be giving you rise of the sales, and it will definitely beat up the competition that you have. So in many of the organizations or in many of the businesses, people get used if you're told you're doing the same thing over and over again, but always make them surprised by adding something to your business on a daily. Add something that they've not expected, and then you will see that is over-delivering. Make sure you do over-deliver to them. And all right, that is it for our business tip this morning. Let's get the business quote as well. And this one is coming in from the CEO of Mylan, Heather Bress. There is simply no substitute for hard work when it comes to achieving success, he says. So there is simply no substitute for hard work when it comes to believing or to waiting for success. You want to be successful, the hard work has to come. Because at the end of the day, there are no secrets, or there is no way you're going to have a shortcut in life. You have to prepare yourself hard enough to experience the hard times that come. But well, the more you do so, the more it will be easier for you to adopt and make things work for you as an individual. But you have to be resilient, you have to be hardworking, you have to position yourself in the best way that is possible. Because, well, at the end of the day, opportunities are not going to just hit you unexpectedly. They always hit someone who is ready and who is well prepared to hit those particular ones. And that is it for the business tip and the business quote this morning. Well, besides that, you can add us up on our social media platforms: Twitter, Smart24TV, Facebook, Smart24TV Official, Instagram, Smart24_TV. The website is www.smart24.tv. Then the YouTube channel is Smart24TV Live for more engagement on our socials. But do remember, you can as well add us up on our LinkedIn as well, and we can discuss more business as usual. We are on GoTV channel 394 and DSTV channel 372, driving your business as it is supposed to be. I'm Jerome Paul Sonko. This is Smart 24 TV and you are watching Smart Means Business. After the break, we return with the Coffee Court discussions. Keep it SMP.
Smart 24, driving business.
The taste of Uganda in a new international park.
shashurira esimu y'ekiroto cyawe mpora mpora yitungire esimu y'ekiroto cyawe erizuba aha sente nje okutandikira aha 14 na data y'omwaka gwona yabusha rero ushashure mpora mpora noshashurira omwaka gumwe nizishanga MTN service centers no maduka ga M-Kopa.
Forget last season. Forget the oohs and the ahs. Forget every moment that stole the show. Football. With over 1,000 games from more than 7 leagues and cup competitions plus a World Cup. Make sure you get the best seat in the house this new football season. Get a GoCoder with 1 month of GoTV value for only 25,000 Uganda shillings and enjoy non-stop football. GoTV Uganda. Love it.
He must be rich, tall, handsome, from a respectable family. He must have a maid because at our home we do not work.
Conductor Masao.
Why?
Yamunang, Auntie, your TV enkolera.
Enjoy a new world of entertainment with over 80 TV and radio channels, plus movies from wherever you are. Download the YoTV Channels app from your app store and enjoy 30 days of free streaming with MTN.
YoTV Channels.
Say goodbye to paperwork and travel costs. Now every MTN customer can register to invest in securities anytime and anywhere with Zabu in a few simple steps. Step 1. Dial *292#. Step 2. Select option 1. Register with Zabu. Step 3. Enter your full names. Step 4. Enter your national identification number. Step 5. Enter your national identification card number. In 24 hours, you will receive an SMS confirming your registration. Congratulations, you are now ready to invest.